राम ओम श्री राम जय जय 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 राम ओम श्री राम जय Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम 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 जय जय Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Yes, what is the topic? Hari Om. For a change, we will now try to go to Uddhava Gita. The time was approaching for Lord Krishna to drop his physical body. So Uddhava, naturally, in spite of his learning everything, still he had attachment to the form, so he was finding it extremely difficult to accept the truth. So he says, the only one, the Holy One smiled tenderly at Uddhava. What Uddhava says, O Master Yogi, your holy life blesses all those who hear about it. Yet I fear that you are making ready to quit the world after bringing about the destruction of your own clan. Though you are capable of warding off the curse of the holy men, I see that you have done nothing about it, which makes me fear the worst, O Krishna. I cannot dream of remaining on this earth even for a second without being able to see your divine form. Even those who have only heard about you cannot bear to continue leading a mundane existence. How then can I, who have been serving you for the whole of my life, bear to be separated from you? Sitting and lying, waking and sleeping, walking and talking, eating and playing, I have been with you. You can sit here. I have worn your cast-off clothes, eaten only the remnants of your food, adorned myself with the sandal paste and flower garlands discarded by you. Thus I have lived in your shadow for over 100 years. How can I bear to be parted from you, O Lord of Lords? Friend of the helpless, do not leave me behind. Take me with you when you go to your divine abode. Krishna smiled tenderly at Uddhava, for he was very dear to him, having been with him from the time that he had come to Mathura from Gokula. Uddhava was the perfect example of the Jnani Bhakta, a man of wisdom who also has intense love for God, a rare combination. And it was to him that the Lord gave his final message. Gently lifting up his devotee who was lying like a fallen log at his feet, the Lord said, "O Uddhava, it is true that I am going to leave the world, for my work here is over. But for you, there is still much to be done. You shall be the bearer of my message to the world. Having surrendered your ego at my feet, you have sailed through life with ease. But, O Uddhava, those who come after us will not allow this method of sweet surrender and the greatness of the path of love which you have learned. You shall therefore be their teacher. Love for family, love for friends, love for one's own body is what binds the jiva to the world and makes it repeat innumerable births. Therefore, abandon all attachment to your own relations. Surrender yourself to me and wander over the world recognizing my presence in everything. Know that this world, as it is grasped by the mind and senses, is but a magic show. It is transitory. For the one with uncontrolled senses, there is an erroneous perception of multiplicity. Such a person is subject to the notion of good and evil and to the differences between ordinary action, inaction, prohibited action. But one who sees the whole world as nothing but the Supreme Lord is filled with joy and sees no differences and meets with no obstruction from any source. Such people have transcended the distinction between good and evil. They neither avoid the bad because of the compulsion nor promote the good because it is advantageous. Their responses are spontaneous, unmotivated, like those of the child. Ever established in the truth of the Spirit, they see the Lord as the essence of this passing show and roam about free from the bondage of karma. Uddhava replied, O Lord of Lords, this wondrous state of detachment is difficult for people like me to achieve. Pray instruct me in the method of achieving it, for you are the supreme teacher. All, the Lord replied, probably this is something, from this we start taking down the messages. Uddhava was only an instrumental cause. He was asking our doubts. How to free ourselves from the cords of attachment. Whatever is said, apart from that, we have to do our own digging. First, we will go through what Uddhava, Lord replied, and then we will come back again. All people are endowed with the capacity to investigate the nature of truth and lift themselves from the evils of a life of instinct, such as animals live. They need no teacher for this. Human beings are endowed with intelligence and discriminative power and can surely be their own teachers. By observation and inference, they will be able to understand what constitutes their ultimate good. The senses by themselves will not be able to discover that which is pure spirit, Atman. But through presumptions and inferences, and by using the faculties of the mind and intellect for the purpose for which they are meant to be used, the intelligent person can come to know of the existence of the spirit. The world itself is full of illustrations pointing to the existence of the Supreme. I will repeat you the conversation between the great sage Dattatreya, our own ancestor, Yadu. King Yadu once met this sage during the course of his wanderings and questioned him, O Holy One, kindly tell me, what is it that fills your heart with joy, though you possess none of the objects of the enjoyment? Being thus questioned by our ancestor, the sage replied, Hear from me, O King, of the 24 Gurus, from whom I have learned much during my travels. These are the earth, the air, the sky, water, fire, the sun, the moon, doves, a python, the ocean, a river, a moth, honeybees, an elephant, a deer, a fish, Pingala, a courtesan, osprey, maiden, the arrowsmith, a snake, a spider, and a wasp. Elaborately it is explained. From the earth I listened patience and non-retaliation. Kshama. From the trees, I learned to strive unselfishly for the good of others and find the meaning of existence from this very striving. Like the air, the sage should remain unpolluted by the good and bad effects of contacts with sense objects. The air passes over many types of places but remains unaffected by their contact. Sky is not tainted by the clouds that pass over it, so also the Atman is not affected by the body it inhabits. Like water, the sage is pure and holy and sweet. Like fire, he is unpolluted by anything, yet purifies everything that comes in contact with him. As fire resides unrecognized in the heart of fuel, so the Supreme Lord resides in the heart of everything. Though the moon appears to be waxing and waning, yet it never alters. So also the changes of the body do not affect the Atman. As the one sun is seen reflected in all the different types of water, so also the one spirit is seen reflected in all things. Before we proceed, let us now try. What all have been covered?
Trees. Trees, sky.
First one,
Earth.
Earth stands for?
Patience.
Eh?
No retaliation.
Let them say. You are sitting near me, you will hear. It is not an examination, we are trying to find out for ourselves whether it gets registered in our mind. So that the moment we step out, something may come back to us. These are the words Lord Krishna shared with Uddhava. Uddhava is the instrumental cause. It is addressed to all of us. We may not be able to see the all-pervading Lord in one go. So he, through values, that which makes us blissful, joyful. Anybody practice, any person who is leading a value-based life, he stands out from the rest of the people. We admire him, we revere him, we love him. So wherever the values are found, we find it is an expansion from me to we. It is not self-centered. Me, my family, my friends, my benefactors, my beneficiaries, like that, we have caged ourselves. At the same time, we are making use of all these what we are going to learn now. The earth, air, fire, moon, sun, anything else? Water.
Air.
So we have now covered earth, air, water, fire. From the earth, so and so. From the trees, trees. These are all palpable, we can see it now itself. We don't have to go to any university. It is simply placed before us. We have been walking on the earth, we have never applied our mind on that. We dig, we make a pit. It doesn't retaliate. We do so many things on it. Today we construct a house, tomorrow we demolish it. Its seva is unconditional. It doesn't specify that I should be used like this. Think about it. I am a product of earth. I am a product of air. I am a product of fire. I am a product of water. Panchendriya Mahabhudam Sambhavam Karma Sanchitam Shariram Sukadukhanam Bhoga Ayatanam Uchyate. My body is made up of these 5 elements. And the characteristic of the 5 elements, Lord Krishna brings it out. So how can I afford to be limited now? Think. Earth, then comes trees. Trees will not say, only to him I will give shade. Only to him I will give my fruits. Only to him I will give my mulch. Only to him I will give oxygen. Na? Think. Unconditional. Equal to all. We may forget, but let us try, Then, trees, and next comes air. We all know that, Air is available to everyone. When India attained independence, it was 36 crores. Now it is 140 crores. Still, nobody dies for want of air. If we block ourselves, we may die. But air is available to everybody, irrespective of the number of creations. Think about it. There will be food shortage, but have we ever heard air shortage? Think. Sky. No, that we forgot. Sky, it is expansive, We can't limit. From here we feel it will be about 1000 meter. But when you fly, again it is there, Clouds are, we can see, then unlimited. It is not tainted by the clouds. Not only it is expansive, it is not tainted by the clouds. Clouds exist and then they go. Everything remains. It is impervious, untouched, unaffected. Then, water. You can add anything to water, it will agree, no? Put sugar, sugar water. Put salt, salt water. Put this color, that color. It will not say, no, I will not accept. In whatever way you want me to serve you, I am ready. Then, fire. Unpolluted by anything, yet purifies everything. Cooking. From the ore, how the metal comes out. From the metal, how various things are coming out. In what all ways, even the automobile, the vehicle moves because of what? Just imagine. Anything. Then, moon appears, 15 days it is waxing moon, waning moon. But still after 15 days again it comes, It's only a circle, but it is constant. Sun. If he takes 1 day leave, finished, 365 days. Entire universe is illumined by him. And because of which all creatures can live. Suppose during monsoon, we all used to experience, when the sun is not there, what a chaos it will be. Everybody will be dull. Clothes will not get dried. Whatever we have stored in the kitchen, the dampness will be there. Dampness is not a good sign. But the moment the sun is there, though we all feel, restless about the summer, we may say it is too much for us, but without sun, can we live? Here he says, as it is reflected in different types of water, so also spirit is seen reflected in all things. So Papa is introducing us now. He is there in everything. You are a part of this. Your body is constituted of these 5 elements. And these are the characteristics. Each one can dig and find out more and more from this. And that being the raw material, what am I behaving? How I have caged myself in the toils of individualism. Whereas the raw material with which I am made of, it stands for unconditional seva, service to the co-creations. From observation of a family of doves, I learned that one should never have intense love or attachment to anything, for that will only lead to one's downfall. Like that of the dove which committed suicide when it saw that its wife and nestlings had been caught by the fowler. From the python I learned not to be swayed by the sense of taste. The python does not hunt for its prey, but swallows whatever creature comes near it, driven there by its own destiny. So also the saint should eat whatever is offered to him, regardless of taste. Like the ocean, he should be still and calm, deep and profound, ever absorbed in the contemplation of the divine. He should not be exhilarated by a plentiful supply of the good things of life, nor dejected by their absence. Like the ocean that keeps its boundaries irrespective of the amount of water that flows into it. Objects of the world will attract us, but if we fall under their sway, we will perish like the moth in the flame that entices. Like a honey gatherer bee that collects just a little nectar from each flower, the sage may accept small quantities of food from just a few houses, but he should not hoard anything. For if he does, he will perish like the bee that gets burned with the honey it has hoarded when the honey gatherer sets fire to the hive to collect the honey. A sage should never have physical contact with a woman, for the sense of touch may betray him, just as even a mighty elephant is enticed and caught by the touch of a she-elephant. The deer, on the other hand, is trapped by the hunter who initiates the call of its mate and thus lures it into the trap. So the sage should not listen to sensuous music, for the sense of hearing can also betray him. The fish perishes due to its attachment to the sense of taste, so the wise should be cautious in eating and thus conquer the sense of taste, which is the most powerful of all senses. Each animal has a special sense organ, and that is extra sharp, that leads to its downfall. But in a human being, all the five senses are equally powerful. So he should be on his guard on all fronts. From the courtesan Pingala, I learned that desire is the source of all sorrows, and desirelessness leads to the most intense delight. The osprey taught me that a sage should avoid all objects prized by others, for if he possesses such a desirable object, everyone will be after him. The poor little bird was chased by all the big birds because it happens to be carrying a tiny morsel of meat in its beak. Like the child, a sage should roam about, having no worries and immersed in the bliss of the self alone. Only the child and the sage can be said to be totally free of cares. From watching the actions of a maiden who was wearing a number of bangles, I learned that a sage should travel alone. Even two bangles made in the wrist make a noise, attracted the attention, which she wished to avoid. So she was forced to take off all her bangles one by one until one was left. Then there was no more noise. From the arrowsmith I learned how to concentrate the mind without allowing it to be distracted by anything else, however grand. His attention did not waver from the arrow tip he was sharpening, even though a royal procession was passing by him. Like the snake that never makes a hole for itself, but always occupies one made by rats, the sage should never possess a home of his own. The Supreme Being creates, manifests, withdraws the universe from himself unto himself, just as the spider does with its web. From the wasp I learned that on whatever object a person concentrates, whether it be through love, fear, or hate, he attains the state of that object. Finally, my own body has been my teacher, from which I learned dispassion and discrimination. Yet I am unattached to it, for I know that it belongs to others, to the dogs, the vultures, the jackals, that may feast on it after my death. The human body is attained only after countless births in the bodies of different creatures, and while it lasts, the wise person should strive for the attainment of the ultimate good and use it only for the purpose for which it was given. Thus the sage, having instructed King Yadu, went on his way, free, unattached, with no cares. This is an amplification of Papa's quotation. The world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. We heard now, no? Are we observing it, no? Everything is placed before us. If at all we observe, are we observing the characteristics? Are we observing the learnings from them? It all started with attachment, you know. The question was about attachment. So straight away we will not be able to detach ourselves from anything. But by knowing all these things, slowly the tendency to develop dispassion wells up in our mind. When we find that the five elements are itself available to everybody unconditionally, that means it has no preference for anybody, not attached to anybody, not it has got aversion to anybody. It remains untouched and unaffected. So we are now praying while chanting the holy and all-powerful Ram Nam to remember you who has brought your manifestation like this to teach me. Please enable me to watch you in the form of these values in your creations. I will try to understand you through your creation. Because all this creation has come from you only. So you are the repository of all these values. Difficult for me to understand straight away. But like this, if you make me to, if you bless me to, ponder deeply over each and every object I am confronted with, each and every element, 5 elements. Probably the journey from the limited to the unlimited, from the finite to the infinite, that might get hastened. Think about it, please. It's a wonderful food for thought today. Till yesterday, Papa was guiding us to the source. That is also there in one part of the mind. And now, that is an introverted approach, inward journey. Here we are seeing the objects, because it is, when something is objectified, it is easy to learn, study. So first we try to study from the objects. Later on come to know the objects also owe its origin to that, to you. So when we have been asked by Papa to go to the origin of our and the world life, this will help us. Here you would have found a morning, everybody sweeping and collecting the mulches, dried leaves. They are not a waste. We used to put it in the garden. It does 2 things. One is it will discourage the weeds to come out, so that the plants will not have any root competition. Second thing is, when it gets decomposed, it becomes an organic fertilizer, organic manure. It enriches the quality of the soil. Think. That means nothing is a waste. It is a recycling. If you go to the Goshala, you will find in the evening, they will be bringing the fodder grass from the field. The cows eat, and it purges out cow dung and urine. The cow dung and urine are collected again. And then, after some time, the cow dung again is put on the fodder field, because then it has become a manure. Again it comes as the fodder. The fodder is eaten by the cows. Cows give it back in the form of cow dung. Cow dung again goes back to the earth. It enriches the soil, again helps the fodder to come out, the foliage, because it contains nitrogen.
Organic farm.
Organic farm.
Then what? Which is the source here? Origin.
What is the source? Which is the first?
Which is the first? Yesterday we read, Chara and Achara, I am the source. Everything has started from him. Yesterday he made us to read that 5, 6 or 7 slokas and made us to get ourselves stamped with this truth, that everything owes to the first cow. You can just see, the fodder comes, from a seed or a cutting. If the seed has to come, it has to come from where? From a plant. The plant has to come from a seed. So first seed, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. The first cow. Normally calf is given when the she calf delivers the cow delivers a she calf. We say she is the origin. No. Now we understand the cows which have delivered a she calf is also an effect of its mother. Na? So it can't be the cause. So the first cow with no mother. Intellect cannot understand. We again go. He says, I am. Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. Not only human being, Sarva Bhutanam. All beings and creatures. Again, that he should not mistake that it is only the living being. He also says whether they are inert, insentient, every object is my creation. So to know the source, I am chanting Ram Nam. I am chanting the name of one who is within me, the source, and who is making me to chant. Through Uddhava's teaching, through Uddhava's asking, the Lord replies this, but we take it. We don't take it as an academic learning, We are not interested in that. In our workaday life, how am I to get myself benefited by this? I don't have to go to any place to know his various manifestations, the characteristics of his manifestations, and the values they stand for. And then suddenly I look at myself. I am a product of all these. But what am I doing? I am enslaved by the me and mine. Whereas that which is made of me does not have this me and mine. Please think over. The Lord enumerated the qualities of the true sage to Uddhava because he was ready for a life of renunciation and karma yoga to Arjuna. He was ready, who was a man. To all persons, he outlined the mode of action best suited to their temperaments, thus facilitating their spiritual progress. Next, he gave a discourse to Uddhava on the Bhagavata Dharma, the great doctrine of bhakti and surrender, which was his unique contribution to the history of Sanatana Dharma. Those who follow the Bhagavata Dharma should not shun action, but should continue to follow their Swadharma, giving up all rites, rituals, and works aimed at fulfilling their own selfish interests. They should observe these rules of internal and external purification known as yamas and niyamas. After having thus purified their minds and bodies, they should seek an enlightened guru whom they should serve faithfully. The Atman being the same in all, it is meaningless to think of any particular person or object as one's own, like wife, children, or property. The jiva's involvement in samsara arises from its identification with bodies generated by the gunas of Prakriti. Knowledge of its real nature alone will put an end to its entanglement. Knowledge of its real nature. So long as there is perception of multiplicity, there will be no freedom for the jiva and the Lord's power as time will terrorize it. Uddhava then asked the Lord how the same Atman can be called free, yet bound at the same time. We will have a recap again, no? In one of his teachings, he said, outer activities, our outer life's activities should be compatible with our inner aspiration. Our inner aspiration is to become aware of his presence within us and then everywhere outside us. First within us. That is the purpose of my chanting. So all my outer activities should be in conformity with that. How am I to do this? So then Papa went on to say that it should be done as perfectly as possible, never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. When we hear these words, it's a flowery word, beautiful word to him. But then to give us more explanation of this, he is now directing our attention to watch the world before us. Perfection and never in a everything is regular here, everything is wholeful. Think, never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. Some words. We can expand it. The sun regularly makes us feel that he is rising and setting. Every activity is connected to his rising and setting. Oh, I have to get up early in the morning. I have to go there at this particular time. Unknowingly, it is the sun who influences us, the time factor. Think about it. And it is regular. And it is available to everybody, not to any particular person. Everybody lies in the night to see the moon, no? Moonlit night. Regular. And the soothing coolness he spreads, moon, available to everybody. Perfection. That is also there. Think about it. When Papa said our outer activity should be as perfect, it should be as perfect as possible, and never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way, today he is giving us amplification of it by directing our attention to some of his creations. The foliage the tree gives, the oxygen, how it converts the carbon dioxide into oxygen and gives to us, how it enables the rains, how its fruits is available for everybody, how its shade help us on a noon time, how we crave for a shade when we walk. We know this, but we have not applied sufficiently on it. Now we are trying to understand Papa's words. Oh, you have brought out all these creation with all these wonderful characteristics to teach me the values, how to broaden my outlook, how to move from the limited to the unlimited, how to become unconditional to everybody. Think. Terrible.
Impact of God, Papa says, all in Ram, all in Ram, Ram in all.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has also composed a poem in which he lists all these things. And he will mention there, even in a train, even in a car, even in a plane, even in a stream, even in an office, even in the cultivation. I am there in everybody. Poem. We read it, that's all. We keep it in that book. The time has now come for us to read in between, because these are all palpable. This is. We don't have to just believe. I find my God in fields, in hills, in dales, in workshop, school, office, marketplace, in plains and forests, in the grazing herd of cows, in home, hospital, and in power plants, in huts and palaces, in halls of assemblies, in temples, churches, and mosques, in solitudes and caves, in graveyards and cremation grounds. I see him in the sky above, earth below, in the waters of the lakes and the oceans vast, in the slow and swift-running streams, in trains, in cars, in aeroplanes, as well as in gentle moving bullock carts. I behold him, awake, asleep, dreaming, in birth, in life, and in death. I find him at all times, in all places, in all states. My God is everywhere and everything. He alone is, there is none but He. So that we don't limit Him, no? Papa, no, not beer. After enjoying that cosmic vision, he wanted every aspirant or a sadhaka to apply intensely. Don't limit yourself to any particular place or a particular object. I am there everywhere. But I fail, I forget. I still see it as a car only. I still see it as a train only. I still see it as a hut only. But repeatedly, if I go through and go through and go through, probably I may be able to move a little further. One more poem is there. There are many. Huh? Anyhow, that I will.
Maybe even in the milk also, we can't see the butter or anything this much.
Milk, the milk we can't see the butter.
But ghee you can't see. But chutney is also different. Chutney will be from all
Yeah. Only by a process and churning.
Even chanting the divine name is something like a chutney.
Not only that. Not only that. The milk may go bad next day, but the ghee taken out from it will be there. What is there in the grossest form is subject to decay, but what is extracted from it remains ever. The quality, no? And if you cannot add milk to everything, to salt it you cannot. Whereas ghee can be added to anything. And ghee comes only from milk. So milk gives us this tuition. Don't stay at the superficial level. Go deep down. And it will be useful for you for a longer period than the one which is serving you now. I may use it for coffee or tea. I may use it to make it butter or curd. But if I take out the extract the ghee from it and keep it, many people will know, nowadays we are unable to give. Otherwise, ashram ghee they will take it. For months together they can keep it, if it is airtight. And it adds a quality to everything, that is put on. So he teaches.
Urine also. So you can put some dry chemicals and put one drop of urine, it purifies.
But now, God has made now one more step, even from the Puranic times. Not only cow's milk, human urine. Not only cow's urine, human urine is also. We have Morarji Bhai, till 100 years he did not take any medicine. Very difficult for us to accept, but still, there is the truth. We went to an ashram of Vinobaji in Mohol, beyond Dharwad. They were all followers of Vinobaji and they had set up a 3-acre ashram. They don't buy anything, just like Brahma Vidya Kendram of Vinobaji's ashram in Nagpur, accepting matchbox, salt, something. Otherwise, everything they cultivate. And when we went there, you know what is their fuel? It is directly connected to the latrine. It produces gas. With that gas, they cook. But we all ate food like any other gas. So then we realize that whether we have developed aversion or not, the truth is there. When having come to know about all these things, when Papa slept on the Jhansi railway station, when he was driven by the police, and when he found a corner where nobody disturbs him under the shade of a tree, when he lay down, he could feel the smell of the urine. And he was praising God. And he said he slept soundly. It's not a cock and bull story, It is his own experience. You and I will read it, but we will not go very near it, miles apart. So we are being taught. I look around myself, everywhere I find myself revealed in 1,000 forms. What glory, what joy in seeing myself as all. What beauteous scenes are unfolded before my eyes. The mountains with emerald verdure, the sparkling lake tranquil like my peaceful mind, the grey mist gradually rising and enveloping the mountains, the lake and all like the veil of Maya, covering the splendor of my soul. How varied and picturesque is my manifestation. So like that, why did we ask this? I find him everywhere. So we are trying to understand more and more of Papa's teachings. Please don't think that this is another text. He is providing us clues. The thread is there. Yesterday he was telling about the thread, you remember? Sutre Maniganaiva. So all these things are stitched to the same thing. To give us more and more amplification, he motivates us to go through the talk between Lord and the Uddhava. More of it, we will take it up tomorrow. But kindly start thinking about it. Nothing is irrelevant, nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant. Any small object, right from the tiniest to the grossest, has something for us to teach us. So let us try to look at it with that perspective, a change in perspective. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai. Namaskaram, namaskaram. Pranam to everybody. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om.